guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Unroyal, just your average amateur racer, and today I decided to take the SVT Mustang out for some fun. I actually had an 03 model of the Mustang. Kind of looks similar to this one, except the tailpipes were shooting out the back. But either way, I've been missing that thing, so I figured, you know what, let's go ahead and drive the next best thing. Even though it isn't a video game, not the same thing, but at the end of the day, still the same thing. There I get a little love tap from someone, get pushed off into the grass, not enough to really mess with my race too much. So we're just going to speed up to when I finally catch up to him on the hairpin. Now, I pulled up the actual track layout which has all the names and all that, and none of these corners have any names at all. So that's going to make this a little hard. But going into this little left-hander here, got a couple of cars doing some landscaping. Got a hatchback off into the grass. You had that dark horse into the grass. But luckily, it gives me a chance to kind of catch up a little bit. So far, Rob's Terrific is going to slowly pull ahead. That's what you get for having a newer Mustang versus a older Mustang. This thing is a 2000s model after all. But anyways, going into a little S-bend here. I'm looking at the map. I'm not quite sure what the turn numbers would be. I want to say that would be turn 4 and 5, but we're going to go ahead and skip ahead to when I finally start catching up. Looks like a Mustang is going to try and make some moves. He's going to go cut some more grass. Ends up ghosting a little bit. He might have just pushed that thing a little too hard trying to get around them. Going into this left-hander hairpin, I do start catching up to Jay Sands and Rami. And it looks like Rami and Jay Sands are going to have a bit of a physical dispute there. I think Rami gets penalized for that one. No, apparently not. Apparently the game says that's a racing incident, but I do get around Rami pretty easily. Then going around the corner that everyone messes up, and I almost mess it up. I do dip a couple tires into the grass, giving Rami and Rob's Terrific the perfect window to get around me. BMW taking that corner a little wide behind me if you look at the rear view mirror. And right now, I'm just trying to catch up to Rami here, who's doing battle with that Dark Horse Mustang. And I do remember that is a Dark Horse model. So, got that going for us. And it was right on Rami's backside right now. Trying to catch up here on turn 4, I want to say this is. Slowly but surely catching up. He's taking it on the outside, trying to get the best possible line. I do have to go in on the inside because I thought I was going to end up going on to the back of him. Behind me, what looks like a hatchback went off into the little escape there. Not sure what happened there. But anyways, going into the hairpin, I'm using my horsepower to my advantage. Getting around Rami. Going into the hairpin, it looks like String Bean JDM is going to do the same thing. Go for a nice little dive bomb there. He's going to try and do the same thing around me, taking the inside. But so far, I don't know if it's going to work out for him. I've got to take the inside. I do hit the brakes a little bit here. We both go off course. He goes off into the sand. I get a small time penalty. Then Rami also gets a time penalty because he did cut that corner quite a bit to get around us. Not sure if that was intentional or maybe he just lost control and that was the result. But either way, going into turn 1, still back around Rami here. I hit my brakes a little too late, and I end up going off into the grass. Not really a smart move on my end, so we're just going to go ahead and speed the rest of this up, trying to catch up to him. And I'm pretty sure it's, yeah, about right here. Jay Sand actually catches up. He gets around on the inside. He's going to go off, catching up to Rami, kind of like what I'm doing. I have to hit the brakes quite a bit earlier than I expected. Granted, it was probably a good thing because I did go off the track last lap because I don't know, I've been kind of out of practice with Homestead Miami. Haven't really been racing on it too much, so you can say I'm a bit lacking on practice on this track. Anyways, going into this little right-hander here. Slowly catching up to Rami, making probably a similar move that I did last time. Drafting him real quick. Trying to get up and around on the inside. Not really so much of a dive bomb, but I do manage to get the move done once again. I'm a little slow to get back on the power, so he gives me a little love tap, and I start really pulling ahead. Now, I do, as of right now, need to be 4/10 ahead of him in order to keep 7th place. But luckily, going into the turn that everyone messes up, Rami's going to make the mistake of a lifetime. He is going to cut the corners by quite a bit and give himself a heaping penalty there. And needless to say, I have not seen that in Forza in quite a while. So I was rather surprised to see that in this race, not gonna lie. But anyways, I'm chasing him down. I know I could actually overpower him and get around him at some point. I just need to stick close to him until I get around the hairpin. Plus, I'm pretty sure it would really annoy him if I got around him once again. Kind of like what I'm doing right now. I am a little late on my brakes, so I do end up going off here. Tires just a little too hot. Rami gets back around. I probably should have been more focused on my braking point versus the getting around him. But here, he's going to go ahead and do the same thing. He's going to go off that corner. He's going to go off into the grass. He's going to really cut this corner, cut that corner. I'm so mesmerized by this that I ended up losing the back end, and he's going to go into a wall. And I'm pretty sure he quits after that one. Oh, no, he doesn't. He's going to stay in it. But anyways, that's pretty much going to be the race after that one, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one, shall we?
Nice work out there.
Okay, now at Laguna Seca, still in the Mustang. That's going to be the car for the video, in case you guys can tell. So far, a really great start. Getting our way through the pack. Turn 1 is not a huge amount of chaos, but going into the Andrade hairpin, this might be a bit of a crazy bit. Black Moy, give me a little love tap, get me out of the way. He isn't a big, heavy muscle car. The older sister to this Mustang, after all. Anyways, I do overcook turn 3. I end up going off course, where a Nissan is also going to lose control. Not quite sure what happened there. Another GT500, well, the same GT500 losing control. End up getting a little love tap from him. Going into turn 5, I was not expecting the BMW to brake quite that much. Plus, I was paying more attention to the GT500 in my rear view mirror, so I missed my braking point as well. Looks like a couple of people trying to really make some moves, trying to shove people out of the way by the looks of it. Going into the corkscrew now. Gotta be careful here because people mess that up. They either cut that corner or they rear end you. There's almost no in between here most of the time. Hit that sausage. Trying to get around Woody Ron, but he's going to block me. And, of course, I missed my braking point. Well, I don't really miss my braking point. I just was not expecting him to brake right there. He decides to get right in front of me, going into this hairpin, and pretty much comes to a complete stop going around there. Was not expecting that whatsoever, so lap 1 quite a bit slower than what I normally like to do. On the Andrade hairpin, I do have to hold the brakes in quite a bit there, really cook the tires. Again, another track I haven't really been on for quite a while, so Mitsubishi almost going to the back of him right there. Someone kicking up a lot of dust there, making it to where it's hard to see. And we're back up, caught up with the GT500, so Looks like he's got a lot of power under the hood, so we're going to try and get him on the technical bits. I get pretty close to tapping his car. Luckily, no collision was made. Mitsubishi's going to cut that corner, come back on at a weird angle, and knock me off the track. Looks like Black Sheep Moy got the collision penalty, though. I don't know why that was the case. By the way, going into turn 9 right now. Looks like Firebird Trans Am and Mitsubishi not really having a good affair, and GT500 in the mix is not helping. Going into the final hairpin. Trying my hardest to keep up. I do manage to stick close to him so far. I do have power over that Evo, so looks like as long as I play my cards right, I should be able to get around him going into the Andrade hairpin. And looks like he's going to overcook it by quite a bit. But I still cannot get the move done, but he does go off, kicking up some dirt. Tried getting around the GT500, but Lancer was right in the way. GT500 going off, dipping some tires, losing some control. I do manage to get around him, but don't forget he does have quite a bit of power. But at this point, I'm pretty sure I have the move done because this is a pretty technical section. So we're just going to go ahead and speed it up to when I finally start catching up to that Evo. And it looks like it's going to be a bit long into the race, but here we finally are. Going into turn 6, going down Rahal Street. Get side by side with him going into the corkscrew. Not really where you want to be. He does go for a dive bomb into Woody. I have to slow down to avoid a collision. Go off course there because I really didn't have anywhere else to go. He does get a little bit of a penalty for that collision. And he does go off course there, allowing me to get right on through. And Woody is the one that really has a really long braking point. Going into the hairpin. And where I thought he'd hit the gas, he ends up coming to a complete stop. So we're going to go ahead and skip ahead a little bit to when I finally do catch right back up to him. Luckily, it's not very far in. Going into turns 3 and 4. I do start getting the feel for the Mustang again. It hasn't really been driven since I got the wheel. So I am feeling at this point that it does need maybe some wider tires, maybe some softer suspension in the back. Anyways, I do go for a dive bomb around Woody, and he does tap me a little bit. Luckily, not enough to cause too much of a issue with the race. And it looks like the Lancer is going to try and spin him out. Doesn't work out for him in the end. But anyways, they're pretty much in the rearview mirror at this point, so I'm just going to go ahead and speed up the rest of this lap and most of the last lap due to the fact that it's literally just me trying to catch up to how you pronounce his name and what looks like maybe a Datsun, maybe an old school Skyline. I'm not quite sure what that is, but either way, his penalty range is reachable, so at this point I'm just trying to stay within there, and I do manage to, but he does take turn 10 really nicely, but either way I do get around him going into the hairpin. Finally not slowed down by that BMW, so my lap time does get a little bit better. I do finally get a clean lap in, so we're going to finish this race in 13th. What a fun time. Let's go on to the next and final race of the video. Alright guys, last race of the video. We're at Silverstone International, so you don't have to worry about me getting the cops and completely mispronouncing that turn name. Going into Abbey and Farm Curve though, I do have to take it a little wide because there was a bit of traffic there. Got just easy to my right. Going into Village, I get rear-ended by a Camaro. Not sure if that was intentional or not, or maybe he was just not paying attention to what was going on in front of him. But anyways, going off onto the hangar straight, right behind a Lamborghini Miura. We're driven by Just Easy. Now, me and him are going to be doing a lot of battle this race, so just a little heads up for that one. Anyways, we both take it a little late going in the stow. I end up taking it wide, giving Norto World a little bit of a window to try and get around me, but luckily this Mustang has a little bit more power. I should also tell you guys that before I did this race, I went through, I made some modifications to it. I made the rear tires a little wider, and I softened the rear suspension just a little bit so that I can take corners a little, well, get in and out of corners a little bit quicker. Anyways, going into Abbey again, I see a Sylvia going off onto the pavement there. Trying to catch up to him, going into farmland. Does not seem to be able to get the move done at all, but instead, C1 Etienne and what looks like a BRZ was able to get around me in the process. Anyways, we're on hangar straight, and I'm going to go ahead and speed up a majority of this because not really too much happens. It's literally just me chasing down these guys, trying to catch up, make up time. Not really much else, but either way, when I finally do catch up, it's what looks like a Toyota GR86. Something I don't quite know which model that is, but it's him and the Lamborghini Miura that I was talking about earlier. Taking the turn onto hangar straight, and I'm pretty much within Just Easy's draft range, and I'm trying to use that to my advantage because I do know that I have a little bit more power over his car. I guess the Lambo doesn't have the greatest speed ever. I do go for kind of a dive bomb. I was kind of hesitant on whether I should do that or not, but I do just take it really tight. Trying to give him as much room as I possibly could because I don't want to ruin his race, but that gives him the inside line for a club, and he is going to take it. Messed up my exit quite a bit going into there because of the really bad line that I had to take, but that's also racing. I tried and I failed. But anyways, going off from Hamilton straight onto Abbey, he does dip a couple tires onto the grass. Gets a little squirrely, recovers really nicely though. Now going into Village, I think this is where he's going to mess up once again. Yeah, he doesn't take it quite tight enough. Puts a couple tires on the AstroTurf, almost hits that sausage curb. Hit that and it's never going to be a fun time, but anyways, going on the hangar straight, I do get on the gas a little too soon. Spin out a little bit, get with that out of his draft range, so we're just going to go ahead and speed it up to when I do catch up just a little bit. Staying at Village now. He does go off course. Right then and there, he cuts that corner quite a bit, trying to get around that Toyota. And Forza decides he's only going to get a tenth of a second in penalties for that one. Not quite sure what they were thinking there, or what the AI was thinking. At the time of doing this voiceover, I can't really say it's turn 10 anymore because we're not getting any more Forza Motorsports. I don't even know if we're going to get any more updates for this game. But anyways, I'm going to do a whole separate video on what I think is going to happen for the Motorsport franchise as a whole. But either way, I do finally catch up to the Miura going into Club. Staying right on his backside, putting some pressure on. He does get a really good exit, but I am still within his draft range, so I'm trying to use that to my advantage. Going into Abbey right now, it looks like he's going to try and take it as tight as he possibly can. Doesn't manage to mess that up, so he did learn his lesson. Either that or the pressure of me being right behind him is starting to really sink in, and he's saying he's got to play the best Forza of his life. I mean, it's just me that we're talking about, though, so it's not like you'd really need to go esports pro when I'm driving. But anyways, going on the hangar straight, I do make the same mistake. Spin the tires just a little bit, but luckily not enough to get out of his draft range. I think that's still about a second out, if I recall correctly, but going into Stowe now. This is where I start really making up some time on him. He does go off course once again, but doesn't get a penalty for that one for some reason. Again, I'm not quite sure what the AI was thinking with that one. And again, it looked like he did a small corner cut there as well, but no penalty given out, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he was a couple pixels in. But anyways, down to the final 2 laps as of right now. My tires are still pretty good. Going into the village, I think pressure is starting to get to the Miura. Looks like a small tap on that sausage curb. Not enough to really mess up his driving line too much, but enough to make itself known. Going on the hanger straight now. I'm right behind him. I didn't really mess up that turn too bad. Pretty sure that one's the loop. I could be mistaken, though. Either that or the loop is the turn right before it. But either way, going into Stowe. He does take the turn nice and tight, blocking me from making any sort of move. He does go off course there once again, though. But luckily, I am within his penalty range as of right now, so I am able to try and make up something. But he does go off course right there. I can confirm that was, in fact, a corner cut. But again, no penalties handed out, so he hit the sausage there. He probably has a really good bump stiffness tune in order to hit that sausage and not to go flying all over the place. Either that or he's got his ride height a little higher and his suspension pretty soft, so. But anyways, going into Village, I was not expecting him to break quite that early. Did have to try and make a evacuation maneuver, but I still ended up colliding him just a little bit, so had to back off just enough to where he could keep that position, but not enough to where I completely lose sight of him. Final lap now, going down a Vale, or no, going down Hanger straight. Going into Stowe, slowly creeping up behind him. Going onto the Stowe, we're both taking this really tight, but I'm trying to get that exit down. He's going to go off course, but of course we're going pretty fast, so I can't really close off that. But of course, I was not expecting him to cut up in front of me, and I ended up going to the back of him there. And I do get a penalty for it, because I also did go into that Toyota. So, whether that's justified or not, I'll let you guys decide, but I do end up crossing the line. I think I finished in 7th still. Oh, I can't see it because of my webcam, but either way, 5, 6, yeah, 7th. So with that being said, guys, just pretend I said something corny here to get you to like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully see you guys next time. See y'all later.